Hey everybody, this is Alicia Marie from Being Me and My Own Skin.com, here to present a video to you on a natural remedy that could potentially help your psoriasis. I just want to give a disclaimer. Before you decide to use anything that you see in this video, make sure you consult with a doctor to ensure that it's the best option for you. To give you a little bit of background information with my battle with psoriasis, I've had it since I was 7 years old, and I've dealt with it for the last 18 years. It was hereditary for me because I had a cousin on my father's side who had it, and my trigger was chickenpox. And so we all know with psoriasis there can be a multitude of triggers, from emotional, from stress mentally and on the body, from the foods you eat, from it just comes out of nowhere. And so that's why it's so difficult to kind of pinpoint the issue of psoriasis and to find a cure. And so I've used a variety of treatments, which you will hear about later, but I'm just trying to try some natural ways to get rid of my psoriasis. And so I found this study at BastierCenter.org, which was the study on the use of honey, beeswax, and olive oil for psoriasis patients. So stay tuned to learn more about these three items and how it could potentially help your psoriasis. First off, let me give you an idea of the different treatments I have actually had to use for psoriasis. And you might see me kind of looking off of the camera sometime because I'm just looking at notes that I have jotted down just to make sure that I cover everything with you all. So the most recent kind of big deal medicine was Embryo. I was on that for almost a year. It did nothing. I have had steroid creams, which work very well, but then you can't use them for too long or they can thin out your skin. I have used Dovanex, phototherapy, sunbathing. I've used apple vinegar, clobetasol, vitamin A, vitamin D, fish oil capsules, vitamin E capsules, rosemary capsules, tar, prescription wise and over the counter. I have used everything that you can think of over the counter, lotions, creams that are meant for psoriasis. There was one time in college where I had to kind of put this tar stuff all over my body, or the doctor did, and then they put me in pajamas, and then they wetted the pajamas, and then they put me in this big plastic suit, and I was looking like the Michelin Man, and I had to sit in that suit for 8 hours at a time. It did nothing. I have never been in remission with my psoriasis. So if you have battled with psoriasis, you know all too well as to how hard it can be to find something that works right for you. My frustrations with medicines for psoriasis have led me to want to find something natural that will work for me. The only thing that has worked to clear me up is the steroid cream, but you're not supposed to use that for too long. You know, that can thin out the skin, and then your skin can become used to it, which means it will no longer work. All these other medicines that they have given me in the past have really made no significant difference, and it has been a true struggle and a true battle. And I'm sure if you have psoriasis that you can relate in some way. So the study that I found was at the Bastyr University. Bastyr University is like a school that has degrees in natural medicines, natural sciences, natural health. And so they had a study on their website about how honey, beeswax, and olive oil could possibly help eczema sufferers as well as psoriasis sufferers. So of course today we're going to talk about the psoriasis aspect of it. So with that study, and again, you might see me looking off at my notes, they said that the patients used this mixture for 3 weeks, 3 times a day. So as I mentioned earlier, for this recipe, you will need all equal parts of honey, beeswax, and olive oil. So that means if you want to make a big batch, let's say 3 cups worth, make sure you use a cup of honey, a cup of beeswax, and a cup of olive oil. If you want to do something smaller, use a tablespoon of honey, a tablespoon of olive oil, and a tablespoon of beeswax. After I provide these steps of what you need to do, I am also going to let you know the issues that I ran into, because the study does not provide that. So the first step, you want to melt the beeswax. You do not want to do this directly. You want to melt the beeswax by using the double boil method. That means that you have a large pot that you fill with water. Then you put in an empty, smaller pot within that large pot. And then you put the beeswax in the smaller pot. That way the beeswax melts when the water heats up. And it is a really good method. As you can see here in this picture, I use an aluminum bowl, so I don't use a pot, okay? And it just is my preference, but it melts it. So after your beeswax is melted completely, you want to add your honey and your olive oil and mix that, okay? So after the first step, you melt the beeswax. The second step is to add the honey and the olive oil. And then for the third step, make sure you have an airtight container, and you add the mixture in there. You seal it and you put it in the refrigerator, and it is supposed to last for 3 months. So to let you know the health benefits of each of these ingredients, honey and beeswax are supposed to have anti-inflammatory properties, and honey can also help to decrease pain. Some of you all who have psoriasis and arthritis know all too well of how that can go hand in hand. And then honey can also help the appearance of scars. And you know, with psoriasis, sometimes even if the plaques go away, you still have the light spots or dark spots as to where psoriasis once lived on your body. The olive oil has antibacterial properties, and you know, when you're itching all the time, sometimes your skin becomes broken and irritated, and it's really easy for bacteria to find its way within your skin. And so it also has the ability to inhibit substances that lead to inflammation, so it can kind of stop those things before they start. So that's just some more information about how each one of these ingredients will help your psoriasis. And if you want to learn more, make sure you reference back to the study that can be found at the link below. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the issues I ran into. First of all, the beeswax that I used, it was extremely difficult to cut. I had to have my husband cut it, and then some way, somehow he broke it off, which it was a little bit difficult to measure initially. So what I did was I melted the beeswax, and then I put it in a measuring cup, and then I put it in another container, and the beeswax turned back to wax immediately. So then I had to add it back to my aluminum bowl and remelt it, which it did it pretty fast, but it was just a hassle. So I kept the beeswax in the bowl, and then I added the honey and the olive oil. So let me just tell you the dishes that I messed up. I messed up my aluminum bowl. I messed up my mixer that I used. I messed up my knives, my really good knives that we got as a wedding gift, all with the wax. So here's something that you can do to avoid this, or not avoid it, but to resolve the wax from being on your utensils. I just boiled some hot water, and I put the knives and the mixer in the hot water, and the wax boiled off. Now it was more difficult to get the wax out of my aluminum bowl, so now that bowl is strictly for wax. I do anything with it. Even when I tried to reboil some of the wax residue that was in there, and I even put some hot water, you can't get all of it out. So those are some issues that I ran into when making this recipe. So I am going to be using my mixture of honey, beeswax, and olive oil for the next 3 weeks. I am interested to see how the texture of it is going to be, since in the recipe is stated to put it in the refrigerator. But I will be making other videos during the course of these 3 weeks to let you know exactly how everything is going and letting you know my progress. And I'm not going to release any pictures until that last video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I plan on making other videos. I have a lot of good stuff up my sleeve, so make sure you keep checking in with my YouTube video and my blog page, www.beingmeandmyskin.com. All the information that I presented to you today in this video will be below in the information box, so make sure you check that out and read it. And if you have any additional questions, please send me a message. Until next time, being me and my own skin.com with Alicia Marie. Thanks for watching. Bye.